Let me suggest something that was presented to me by Dr. Arlen Myers at Rose Medical Center in Denver in 79 to 80. I had shown him photographs of the excisions, and I had documentation that in many of the animal mutilations that I have investigated, that the entire heart has been missing from inside the chest of a male or a female large adult animal. And a large adult cow heart is 7 by 9 by 11 or 12 inches. They're very big. And for a veterinarian to open up an animal to do a necropsy and find that the heart is missing, the pericardium is there, the translucent sac around the heart, there's no blood, there's no clotted blood. In many other cases, bladders will be missing and various internal organs, and there are no excisions on the outside of the body. And Arlen Meyer said, I think that we are dealing here with a technology that is molecule or maybe even atom-specific, but more likely molecular. It's a molecular-specific surgery in which there can be an extraction from inside of bodies of a very specific molecule, and it will not cut or leave any sign of any sort of surgery on the outside of the body. And as a man who was working with lasers and laser research in 79 to 80, he said that he hoped someday on this planet that we would have molecule-specific surgery and that the trauma of cutting through skin and cartilage and so forth would be eliminated once we got to that point. Well, we don't have that even now. But back in 1979 to 80, the comment from a laser surgeon looking at what I had as evidence from veterinarian pathology examinations and what was actually happening to these animals. And this is the realm that I think that we are in when it comes to the kind of technology that is being applied to animals around the world. And I think the reason falls in at least two categories. One is genetic harvesting to produce something that I don't know exactly what it is, and the second would be for some kind of sustenance.
Yeah, I would think the first theory might be more palatable for some reason.
I think they're both happening.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, if they were going to eat something, why don't you just eat the whole animal?
Because we're not dealing with humans. We're dealing with something else that is extracting material for reasons that are probably incomprehensible to us. But I think that one of the categories is clearly sustenance.
Let's go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Rob's with us. Go ahead, Robbie.
How are you doing tonight?
Good, Rob. Thanks.
How you doing, Linda?
Hi.
This is a great show. This is awesome. I got like two things, all right?
All right.
All right, kind of like two separate different things. So, you know, we're talking and discussing about animal mutilations, you know, and their, you know, and aliens' ability to kind of terraform other planets. I'm thinking maybe it's possible that with these mutilations that maybe they're doing it, you know, with the genitals and everything, that they're doing it for you know, for making animals for their planet or whatever, how you say that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
sure.
And also, I'm curious, have you guys seen that video that was on TV for the UFO? I forgot what country it was in, but it was like plain as day, man. It was wild.
That might have been one of Peru's.
I love the show, and I got to go.
Okay, my friend. His first question, of course, the extraction of these sexual organs.
Well, this gets into this very difficult area of containers. And there's a whole huge section with people in the human abduction syndrome who have seen tubes of light in which there are bodies. And they are full grown. And we're not talking babies, we're talking adults, but they're not all human. There's a huge variety, but these bodies are sustained by lights above and below in these tubes. They're referred to as a resurrection technology or a tube technology or a light technology. And that even though it's not totally understandable to the people in the abduction syndrome who have been exposed to this, and they don't fully understand, they all come away, and there are many people who have seen this, with the sense that we're dealing with advanced minds, technologies, civilizations that have the ability to create bodies from genetic material, and that they can also project their mind, their consciousness, their animus into the clone bodies. And that leads to the even more difficult subject of people in the government who have said that one of the greatest concerns on this planet is who looks human and is not. And that implies that the human body form could be used as camouflage by one or more non-human intelligences who have some reason to be here, to monitor, to harvest from this planet, but do so in a way that is not obvious to us. And then that leads to the question of why were we made in the first place, who monitors us, who watches us, who manipulates us, and at the moment of death, is it possible that the Cromagnon Homo sapiens sapien soul spirit goes to a dimension that even our watchers cannot go to?
What do you think of the Peruvian Air Force opening up its UFO office again?
Well, I read something about that. It's the same question every time you hear about a new UFO office in any given country, whether it's Brazil or England releasing MOD files that have no meat in them to speak of. They're mostly just sandwiches of paper. That it is almost like window dressing, these announcements about releasing UFO files or setting up UFO offices, because if the truth about who the non-humans are, what the agendas are, what the relationship to this planet over millennia is not the focus of what they are setting these offices up for, then are they just pushing paper as window dressing to say, yes, we're involved and we're monitoring the UFOs? How much is real, how much is substance, and how much is window dressing?
Well, that is so true. Let's take a few more calls here for you, Linda. Next up, we go to Frank in Hollywood, Maryland. Frank, good morning.
Howdy, George. Glad to be back with you.
You too,
Ms. Moulton Mallett, I have two questions and a comment. Has there been any reports of animal mutilation on Amish farms? I'm surrounded by Amish farms here in southern Maryland. There's a big contingent in Ohio and Pennsylvania also.
Well, that is a very good question, and I don't have a clear answer, meaning there have been lots and lots of animal mutilations in Pennsylvania going all the way back to the end of the 60s. But I don't have really hard information about whether or not there have been any on Amish farms or not. But you're raising the question about whether or not extraterrestrials or creatures from outer space, as sheriffs call them, would make a distinction on this planet with any kind of a spiritual faith or any other division. And the clearest distinction that I know and have talked to with other people who have studied animal mutilations is India. India is a country that has revered the bovine. And I don't know of any, not a single case I don't have in any file about there being a reported animal mutilation in the nation of India. If there has been, and somebody out there knows, please let me know, but I do not know of any. And over the last 50 years to the 1911 Australia case, that's a century. And here in the North America, Mexico, Central America, South America, there literally have been thousands and thousands of animal mutilations. So we're in an area that is definitely focused upon And the very fact that a country as large and populous as India would not have reports and is a nation that reveres the bovine, I personally have always thought, is that an indicator that the non-humans do try to make distinctions around what humans themselves honor? We got a call from a man in Missouri, and this would have been back around 1989, and it was about the body of a nude man found around a lake in a forest. It was quite a removed rural area. And the story was that there were excisions from this man's body on the lake, similar to what happened in mutilated animals. Now, so we have a phone call reporting this. Dr. Altschuler said, as a director of hematology and pathology, I should be able to get a hold of the coroner in that county and explain the kind of research we're doing, and we can find hard medical facts about this body. He made the call, talked with the coroner, and the coroner told him, I've been ordered, that this is classified information and it's not to be discussed. Now, was it a mutilated body? That is the closest we ever came in all of the research I've done to the possibility of question mark on that. And then there is the Thomas Sees, S-E-E-S case in Pennsylvania. That was in the middle 2000s, and that is the story that made a lot of, I think, national news about a wife reported that her husband was missing in rural, I think it was northwestern Pennsylvania. And police and all kinds of people were out, and I think it was a 2-day search. And they had been around the house. There had been one person, a farmer, had called the local police and said that they had seen an object in the sky that put a pink, that was the unusual pink beam of light, down to the ground in an area where the husband had told his wife that he wanted to go out in his Jeep to ride or go hunting or something. So they had that piece, but they hadn't found anything. And suddenly, 48 hours close to the house, is the husband's body with only his undershorts on. He was nude. Nobody ever has provided photographs or an autopsy report or anything from the Thomas C. case. And about 2 years after this strange mystery with just these little teeny pieces making it out to the local media there in Pennsylvania, and my trying to find out and being told that the wife would not talk with anyone, 2 years later, a man called me and said that he had he either was working with the FBI or had worked with the FBI, and he was investigating the Thomas Sees case, and that he wanted to know if I had any of the hard original documents about the man having excisions from his body. It was the phone call that raised the question. And I asked him, I said, no, I have never, ever been able to get any details, hard data, hard medical evidence on the Thomas Sees case. Do you have other information? And he said that he had been investigating, had tried to talk to the wife, had never been able to, but that some people who knew her said that there had been unusual missing tissue on that man's body, and that nobody understood why did it turn up near the house after 2 days of searching by police and law enforcement when it wasn't there. How did that happen? So
Right.
I do not think that the current Homo sapiens sapien is the target. And while in the break, I found something I'd like to share with you and the audience, and that is in August 2010, the British UFO files were released. They've been doing this in